Here we are again on the supplier side to look at the management of the D6 and the induced cost that has just been charged to us. Let's go to NC Management and open the non-conformity again. We also received the notification via email, and it notified us of a cost. And here too in the timeline we see that the customer has uploaded a cost of 250 euros on the non-conformity and has approved the D5, however. So what do? We can go right here, open the costs. Looking at the documentation here, I can identify an induced cost specifically allocated for the management of non-conformity issues, which amounts to a total of 250 euros for this particular case. I can accept it or I can start a discussion. I had already done this offline, but I'll show it to you again. We can have a discussion to lower the cost and negotiate the amount. So as done before, I put here 250 euros is unacceptable. Please revise to 200. I click send, and this message is written as a discussion of the induced cost. So we will see if the customer can accept our revision request or not. Back to non-conformity. Let's go back, and now let's look at the D6. The D6 is for validating the corrective action. The corrective action that I had proposed is reproposed here. So review and update the supplier process control plan to define specific control frequency for the critical dimension characteristic, including tool wear, monitoring, and documenting measurement result. Okay, so I have several tools available to validate my corrective action. I have a running rate capability study, the LPA. I have monitoring. I can choose, I don't know, right now I feel like saying maybe an LPA could be the ideal one. I can also choose not to validate. I can also, at the supplier level, choose not to use a tool. I can simply put implemented. But be careful because this action is still subject to validation by the customer. I can simply put implemented, validate action, and stop. There is nothing filled out. It's not a problem. However, I would say that an LPA could be the tool that suits our needs. So I'll go open the tool, and for auditor, I'll put quality manager, and I'll do a small LPA to go and confirm the corrective action. So on August 22nd, 2026, line area CNC machining, we said that was the area where this non-conformity was created. For shift, let's put 1. Standard work available at the station, okay. Operator trained, okay. Control plan inspected, okay. Regarding the notice of finding, the control plan has been officially updated. This is because we had previously committed to revising the control plan to incorporate the new, more rigorous check frequency requirements that were discussed. The inspection was performed correctly, and everything is now in line with the new control plan. Okay. Material identification correct, okay. Green dot on the part. We had promised that we would put a red dot on the parts. Reaction plan defined now, okay. Because I have the ability to deploy a quality alert directly into our production environment, I am going to set up a new alert. This will be placed in production to, let's say, clearly highlight the specific reaction plan we need to follow whenever we encounter any instances of non-conformity. So fully compliant, 100% result, I can possibly attach evidence of the audit performed. So a checklist or some photos, right? Something, a PowerPoint, anything, and I can click Save LPA. At this point, I click Validate. I validate and click Submit for approval. At this very moment, I have just officially submitted the D6 report to the customer. This means that the customer is now in a position where they can either accept or reject the validation of my corrective actions. It is now up to them to review the submission and decide on the next steps. Let's go back to the customer side so we can see the discussion of the induced cost and the validation of the D6.